Coming up on the Beaufort News, November is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. We'll find out about one organization that helps those who care for loved ones with that disease. Also ahead, Election Day is just around the corner. We'll get details on all you need to know before you head to the polls. The Beaufort News is next. Welcome to the Beaufort News. I'm Allie McNair in for Jessa Jeremiah. Governor Nikki Haley and State Law Enforcement Division Chief Mark Keel scheduled a news conference at the State House on Monday to address the cyber hacking of South Carolina taxpayers' information. On Friday, the governor, along with other state and federal authorities, disclosed that a foreign hacker or hackers had stolen 3.6 million Social Security numbers and 387,000 credit or debit card numbers from the South Carolina Department of Revenue during a series of cyber attacks on August 27th. State law officials are advising anyone who has filed a state tax return since 1998 to take steps and find out if their information has been misused by identity thieves. The state is also offering 1 year of free credit monitoring to concerned taxpayers. To register by phone for identity protection services, you can call this number. It's 866-578-5422. Or you can go to this website, protectmyid.com/SCDOR, and enter the activation code SCDOR123. Should Beaufort County's treasurer and auditor be appointed by the county's top administrator? That question will be asked of voters in a referendum on the November 6th ballot. Currently, the county treasurer and auditor are elected by voters. Both the treasurer and auditor oversee their departments and make personnel decisions. Now, if the referendum passes, the county manager would appoint the treasurer and auditor, and the county manager would also be responsible for overseeing those two departments. The Beaufort County Council has approved the purchase of almost 99 acres in Okeechobee Township through its Rural and Critical Land Preservation Program. The County Council made that move in an effort to help stabilize and restore the water quality in the Okeechobee River. The purchase of the property will prevent the construction of 400 homes as well as commercial space. The land was valued by the county at $4 million, but was purchased by the county at a price of $1.5 million. Beaufort County residents could be seeing an increase in their electric and gas bills coming soon. After the South Carolina Electric and Gas proposed the 6.61% rate increase for these services, citizens are now wondering if the rate increase will be approved. The South Carolina Public Service Commission would have to give that go-ahead on such an increase and will make its decision sometime in December. Well, you may have noticed an increase in roadside checkpoints throughout the county recently. Members of the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office Traffic Enforcement Division have been conducting traffic safety checkpoints in which drivers are asked to show licenses, registration, and insurance. The checkpoints are intended to enforce South Carolina state laws here in Beaufort County, as well as emphasize violations related to the documents they've been checking. 20 Beaufort County public school teachers have been honored with grants from the Foundation for Educational Excellence. The innovative teacher grants are funded by the Community Foundation of the Low Country. Foundation members visited classrooms in person to deliver the grants that range from $200 to $500 for a total of $8,000 countywide. And now here's a look at what's making news around the region. A judge has ruled that Boeing broke a national labor law when its human resources manager at the company's North Charleston plant told a mechanic he couldn't talk about unionizing during working time. The Post and Courier reports that Administrative Law Judge William Cates ruled that Boeing can't prohibit employees from discussing the union while allowing discussion of non-working related matters during working time. Cates ordered Boeing to stop the practice and also required the manufacturer to post a notice letting employees know of their right to organize. Representatives of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers brought the unfair labor practice charge on behalf of the mechanics this spring. A Boeing spokesperson says the company is disappointed with the judge's decision and disputes his findings. A man charged with killing a Greenville couple had recently been released from prison and knew the couple's housekeeper. That word from Greenville County deputies who last week arrested 22-year-old Jonathan Rhodes and charged him with murder, first-degree burglary, and kidnapping in connection with the deaths of 78-year-old Gary Wells and 77-year-old Helen Wells. The couple was found stabbed to death in their home earlier this month. Authorities say their housekeeper, Shirley Ann Rogers, had been accused of stealing money from the Wellses before they were killed and used Helen Wells' credit card without her permission. A skydiver died Sunday after what's being called a hard landing at an airport in South Carolina. According to Chester County Emergency Management Director Eddie Murphy, authorities were called to an airport in Chester shortly after 10 in the morning. The skydiver was airlifted to Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, where he later died. A spokesperson with the skydiving company who coordinated that jump told the press that the man was an experienced skydiver who had a perfectly good parachute. At the time of this taping, the man's name had not been released. Well, 2 York County law enforcement officials are being sued over video gaming machines. The Herald of Rock Hill reports that Sheriff Bruce Bryan and Marvin Brown, the commander of a countywide drug enforcement unit, are facing lawsuits that challenge police actions against owners and operators of video gaming machines. One video gaming company says officers confiscated its machines after a judge had declared them legal. In another suit, a Rock Hill business owner claims deputies threatened to arrest him and order to try to keep him from operating the machines. Bryan and Brown say officers were following the lead of state police and prosecutors who said those machines were illegal. Now, video poker was outlawed in South Carolina 12 years ago, but operators say the new machines are technically legal and operate on chance. If you'd like more information on these headlines, check out the media sources listed on your screen. And remember, you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Coming up here on the Beaufort News, Buck Boone from the Island News joins us, so stay right there.
Low Country Real Estate is located in historic downtown Beaufort, home to one of the most attractive real estate markets in America. We've been providing high-quality service to our community for the past 24 years. Whether you're interested in buying or selling residential, resort, or commercial investment property, our professional sales staff can help you with your real estate needs. Please visit lowcountryrealestate.com for details on all available properties in Beaufort and come see how the Low Country becomes you.
It is time for Hot Off the Press with Buck Boone of the Island News. Hi, Buck.
Hey, how you doing, Allie?
I am doing great, thank you so much. Now, we know an event's coming up this weekend. It's the Beaufort Area Clean Marine. Let us know a little bit about that, if you would.
Well, boaters will be able to dispose of unwanted, damaged, and unusable equipment for free at a special 3-day event from Friday, November the 2nd to Sunday, November the 4th. The Clean Marine event is intended to help prevent boating and fishing equipment from becoming derelict or discarded into our coastal waterways and marshes. Abandoned boats, old fishing gear, discarded equipment, and building materials become marine debris that threatens the health and safety of our coastal environment. This event is organized by the South Carolina Sea Grant Consortium, Beaufort County Public Works, Beaufort Soil and Water Conservation District, and a broad coalition of community partners.
Well, that sounds great. Definitely a good idea. Now, I know the Riverview Charter School recently held what's known as the Empty Bowls Project. Can you tell us about that and what their results were?
This year, with support from parents and the community, Riverview Charter School raised $9,200 at the Empty Bowls event and silent auction, which is all to benefit Stop Hunger Now. With this money, Riverview students, their parents, and volunteers from across the community purchased and packaged 30,786 meals in just over 4 hours last week.
Buck, voting day is just around the corner. Any advice for Beaufort County folks going to the polls?
Well, just as a reminder that many of the candidates in local races will be attending a forum the evening of Thursday, November the 1st at TCL, and the public is encouraged to attend. It's an opportunity to be more informed when it's time to vote on Election Day, which is Tuesday, November the 6th. The big word here is vote.
All right, Buck Boone, as always, we appreciate your time on the Beaufort News. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Allie.
Well, every week, the Beaufort Regional Chamber of Commerce provides us with business news. And with this week's report on location, here's Blakely Williams.
It was another great weekend in Beaufort this weekend. We had the Historic Beaufort Foundation's fall tour of homes here, and the pickup was here in the Arsenal. We had a great turnout. It was a beautiful weekend. Tons of people seeing these great historic homes all throughout the neighborhood. We also had some historic reenactment going on here in the Arsenal. We had some period pieces come in, and we reenacted the Revolutionary War time period in some costumes. I hope you'll enjoy some of these images we're flashing before you. The fall tour homes brings in tons of tourists. It had a great economic impact for us, and we're thrilled for that tourism and economic impact that they had this weekend. Also, I've just spent some time talking to the Trask family. There's a brand new business opening on Bay Street. Be ready. It'll be ready before Night on the Town. Yo-Yo's Yogurt. Great new restaurants coming on Bay Street. Check it out. And this week is an important week for all of us as Americans. It's election week, as you all know, on Tuesday, November 6th. I've got Jessa Jeremiah to share some tips and tricks with you. See you at the polls.
Attention Beaufort County voters. Here are the top 5 things you need to know before heading to the polls on November 6th. 1. You must have been registered by October 6, 2012 in order to participate in the November 6th general election. 2. Know your precinct, polling location, political districts, and candidates. 3. Although your political districts have changed since the last general election, your voting precinct has not changed. 4. To keep waiting lines shorter, voters should be aware of the questions on the ballot and be ready to cast their vote when entering the voting booth. 5. There is no early voting in South Carolina. South Carolina does have absentee voting either in person or by mail for a limited number of reasons. Go to bcgov.net/vote to check your voter registration status. You can also learn about your political districts, find your polling location, review sample ballots, and learn about the absentee ballot process. You can also find us on Facebook. Always remember, it's a privilege to live where voting is a right. Honor this privilege by exercising your right to vote.
Right now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, details on Election Day next here on the Beaufort News.
Hi, my name is Matt McElhaney, owner of City Loft Hotel, an upscale boutique hotel in downtown Beaufort. We are proud to be consistently ranked as the #1 hotel in Beaufort based on TripAdvisor's guest ratings and comments. At City Loft, we value our neighbors in the Lowcountry. Whether you're taking friends by boat or need a romantic getaway in Beaufort, let us at City Loft extend hospitality while introducing what's new in urban hotel design. At City Loft Hotel, we are committed to customer service. When you stay here, you're always a local.
Election Day is November 6th, and joining us on the Beaufort News, Scott Marshall. He is the Executive Director of the Beaufort County Board of Elections and Registration. Thanks for joining us.
You are certainly welcome. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Thanks. Hey, what should voters know before they head to the polls on November 6th?
Well, they should know several things. They should know if they're registered in time for the election, which means they must have been registered on or before October 6, 2012 to participate. They also should know where they go to vote and who they're voting for. In other words, what are their political districts? And we have redistricted since the last general election. The good news is they can find out all this information on our webpage if they go to it. It's bcgov.net/vote.
So they definitely want to check that out before heading to the polls. What about what they need to bring with them in order to be able to vote?
Well, voters need to bring with them what they've always brought to the polls with them in South Carolina since 1988. Nothing's changed for this election. They have to present either a voter registration card, a South Carolina driver's license, or another form of picture ID issued by the state of South Carolina.
Now, you and I have chatted about this in the past, but what about early voting? Do we have it in South Carolina?
Well, what voters need to know about that is we do not have early voting per se, meaning you cannot vote early without excuse. We have absentee voting, both in person and by mail, and a voter must meet one of the reasons required under the law to vote absentee. Our absentee in-person precinct locations are open in Beaufort and at our Bluffton office from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and voters can get the information on directions on our website.
Great. Now, do they actually vote at that location, or do they take a ballot with them and then mail it in?
They actually vote at that location.
Great. Well, Scott Marshall, great information from you as we head towards Election Day. Thank you so much.
You are certainly welcome. Thanks for having me.
Scott Marshall, he is the Executive Director of the Beaufort County Board of Elections and Registration. Well, November is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Joining me now is Arlene Heape. She is the Executive Director of Alzheimer's Family Services of Greater Beaufort. Arlene, thanks for joining us on the Beaufort News.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Can you tell us about your agency and what you have planned for this month?
Yeah, November is National Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and we were especially honored this month, as in last year, to have Mayor Billy Keisling proclaim November to be Alzheimer's Awareness Month for the city of Beaufort. So we're very honored by that. We try to use November and aggressively promote awareness of this disease, as well as awareness of our agency and things that we can offer to the caregivers of the community. This year, again, we'll be doing our annual pecan sales, which start in November. Hometown Realty is also sponsoring a fall memory bazaar to benefit us. The students from the National Honor Societies from both Beaufort High School and Battery Creek High School are sponsoring a purple light bulb sale to benefit themselves as well as our agency. And Brad Ballington of Bliss Salon on North Street is sponsoring a project where we're asking ladies to come in and have their pink hair strands from Breast Cancer Awareness Month turned into purple hair strands to help promote awareness of this disease.
Well, National Alzheimer's Association, are you connected with that agency?
No, we're not a member of the National Alzheimer's Association. The National Alzheimer's Association uses most of their funds to promote research. We are primarily, by our mission, a caregiver support agency. We raise all of our own funds locally, and hence we use all of them locally too. We are dependent on grants, the largest of which we receive is the United Way grant. We are a United Way service agency. We also have several other private and public grants, as well as we rely heavily on donations from the public.
Well, caregivers really do need support when they're taking care of a loved one or family member with Alzheimer's. What are some of those services you provide?
We offer an in-home program where we can send an aide into the home to care for the patient with Alzheimer's. We also have a social day program where the caregiver can drop their family member off 3 days a week. We have a Maintain Your Brain program, which is a program for anybody that wants to stimulate their brain and promote a healthy brain. We also offer support groups, an all-men's support group and a family-oriented support group as well.
Well, Arlene Heape of the Alzheimer's Family Services of Greater Beaufort, thank you for coming on and giving us information on your organization.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll have the Port Royal Report with Councilman Joe Lee and some entertaining news with Mark Shaffer. Stay right there.
Is it time to purchase for the one-of-a-kind person in your life? Over 60 years of service distinguishes Modern Jewelers as one of South Carolina's preeminent jewelry stores.
We're proud to have been voted Beaufort's #1 jewelry store 10 years in a row. Come visit us at 807 Bay Street.
It is time for the Port Royal Report with Town Councilman Joe Lee. Joe, thanks for coming on the Beaufort News.
Thank you, Allie. Good to be here.
Well, I understand the town's hosting a tour of the new Rookery and Wetlands Trail. Tell us all about that, if you would.
Yes, we're very pleased that Connie Heape, Director of Leadership Beaufort, has scheduled her class, her current class of leadership, to visit the wetlands at the end of the day on November the 2nd. We're going to have a lecture at the amphitheater and then a walk through the wetlands for all this class. And we're looking forward to it because it's their day of studying ecology, and it'll be a great way to end the day.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. Now, next item is that the town's appointed a committee to check out the proposed form-based code. I have no idea what form-based code is. Can you explain?
I sure can, Allie. It's the new code that takes the place of zoning. The county, the town, and the city are all implementing this code over the next 6 months. We've been at this for a couple of years in the design and had consultants here. And each community has appointed a citizens committee to review this before it comes before council. So our council, we've appointed a 6-member committee to look at this. Lee Helena, Judy Alling, Mary Klein, Jim Crower, and John Ellerby, along with Reed Armstrong, who represents the Coastal Conservation League. Reed serves on several of these citizen-based committees, so it'll be a good link between us and the other groups. It's been a gigantic effort, and the document right now stands at several hundred pages. I hope before it's done, it'll be a little bit less than that.
Wow, that's a lot of reading. Now, Election Day's almost here. Do you have a reminder for folks?
I do, and I'm glad that you had Scott Marshall here to go through the details. He's the man that runs this show, and we give him a lot of credit. He's been a busy guy the last few months. I just want to remind everybody to please come out and vote on the 6th. We need everybody to vote, and we need everybody to go all the way to the bottom of the ballot and vote for those issues that are really local issues. I keep saying, don't forget the local issues.
All right, Councilman Joe Lee, as always, thank you for giving us the Port Royal Report.
Well, thank you guys, really appreciate it.
And now it's time for our Arts and Entertainment Report with Mark Shaffer of Low Country Weekly, who is out on location. Mark?
The 3rd annual Farmers Table event takes place at Habersham on November 3rd. I'm here with Executive Chef Jim Spratling, who's in charge of putting this together. Tell me a little bit about this event.
Well, this started 3 years ago, being the 3rd annual, obviously. It started with just a meeting here at Habersham with Paulus Tuma of the Food Bank and myself and a couple of other Habersham business folks. They basically wanted to do an event here in the Beaufort area that kind of reflected one that we do in Charleston each year to raise awareness for hunger and farm-to-table type living.
So the proceeds, all the proceeds benefit a very good cause.
That's correct. That's correct. To bring food to people who don't have enough. That's the bottom line. And the farm to table thing is just icing on the cake, really. And in that meeting, Hollis just basically gave me free rein to create an event like I would like to have it as a chef. And you know, and the way the format came about is there's no competition involved. It's a total collaborative of chefs. And we have a series of meetings and come up with a menu together and execute it together based on what's in the ground right now.
Exactly. It's going to take place behind us here at the market.
That's correct.
In
That's
Habersham.
correct.
This year, including yourself, 8 chefs.
That's correct.
Some fine talent, including a couple of guys out here as well.
Yes.
And any idea what to expect?
We're meeting. It was going to be yesterday, but we postponed to Tuesday, which is no problem. We have, I think, plenty of time, and that's the only time I could get everybody together, really.
And there will be live entertainment, music,
yes,
and under a big tent, and everything's going to be lovely.
It's a beautiful event.
Okay,
it really is.
More information, you go to lowcountryfoodbank.org. You can pick up a copy of Low Country Weekly, or you can visit us online at lcweekly.com. Get more information, book your tickets now. Seating is limited.
Thanks so much, Mark Shaffer, and we want to thank you for joining us. I'm Allie McNair in for Jessa Jeremiah. She'll be back next time here on the Beaufort News.